was not a surprise. What you have to do, I have known you're going to do for 3 years. It's now time. Do it. There were no surprises concerning Judas. And we need to let all of that sink into us. Because we talk about the omniscience of God, the all-knowing reality of God, and the all-knowing truth of Jesus, and we don't perhaps ponder it, meditate on it, and let it have an emotional effect or a worshipful effect. Let me try to help you with that effect. This is what I do for myself. I'm just kind of doing out loud what I do with the Bible to help my soul feel the Bible. If you've ever been impressed with any man's knowledge about people, wisdom about discerning motives, you've known somebody, they could just seem to get it. They just knew. They were so good at discerning, seeing right through people. If you've ever known anybody like that, or anybody who could explain actions well, or anybody who seemed to be pretty good at looking at somebody and then predicting their next behavior. If you've never read anybody in fiction that somebody made up about amazing knowledge that they had of what other people were like or what other people did, or any person in history that you've read about who seemed to be remarkably knowledgeable, or any living counselor you've ever been to who seemed to just break right through and help you get at the nub of the issue where you seemed so stuck, or any scholar that impressed you with what he wrote or whatever. If you've ever been impressed, then you should be impressed with Jesus, and the difference should be something like the difference between being impressed with first grade math and quantum mechanics. I have been impressed with human beings. It's not wrong to be impressed with what humans can do. Psalm 8 that we just read yesterday said, "You have crowned him with glory and honor. You've made him a little lower than the heavenly beings. You've given him dominion over the works of your hands. You've put all things under his feet. They can go to the moon." Human beings are quite amazing creatures, and it's right to know that and give God praise for it. It's not an accident that Psalm 8 begins and ends with, "O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name." And then it celebrates man in the middle, and then it comes back and ends, "O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name." That's not an accident. That's a message. So if you've ever been impressed, and I have, with some human beings who seem to have knowing, then let that impression just exponentially explode over Jesus Christ in worship. Because the way Jesus Christ knows the world, what's inside the mind of the Son of God by way of understanding human beings, all of them, all 6 billion, is infinitely worthy of your worship. The glory of his omniscience perhaps will come to us more fully if we ponder its personal implications for us. It means there are no secrets in your life. None. You may have succeeded in hiding something all your life from everyone that you know. I suspect that's true of every person in this room. Certainly is for me. I know things about my life that nobody knows. I'm 63. I know 1,000 things about my life that nobody else knows, probably. Noel and I just haven't debriefed for 12 hours a day for the last 40 years, you know? We got other things to do. I don't think there's anything I would be ashamed to tell her. Well, yes, I would be ashamed, but I'm not scared to tell her. I'm a sinner. But if you have succeeded, as I have, in not telling everybody or anybody about everything, you haven't succeeded with Jesus. He knows absolutely everything about you. There are no secrets. You are totally, completely known by Jesus. That's amazing. The person who matters most knows most. The person whose judgment is all important knows all. Let that sink in. You are totally known. Totally. There's not the slightest part of your heart. You've never had a feeling. You've never had a thought. You've never done a deed. There's not been a twitch in your brain or in your heart or in your body that He hasn't known fully and completely. Indeed, vastly more fully than you know it. Therefore, there is always one person you must relate to who knows everything about you. Think about it. There's always one person you must relate to who knows everything about you. You may be able to look others right in the face and know that they don't know certain things about you, and that will govern the relationship. It will affect the relationship. I'm looking you in the face and I'm relating to you as a pastor, and you don't know thousands of things about me. That shapes the relationship. With Jesus, when I look Him in the face, He knows absolutely everything. And that shapes the relationship. Everything. There can be no face, no mask. You can't. He simply, absolutely knows. This relationship is like no other relationship. It's breathtaking. If you relate to Him at all, you relate to Him as utterly laid bare, utterly known. What an amazing relationship. What an amazing relationship. There is one and only one who actually and totally knows you. Only one. Your spouse's knowledge of you, your best friend's knowledge of you is as nothing compared to this. Therefore, you always have someone to go to for help in knowing who you are. You always have someone to go to for help in knowing who you are. You know, one of the great longings of the human soul is to understand ourselves. Who are we? What is our nature? What sort of being am I? What is my deepest thought and feeling? What are my true and deepest motives? What are the relationships deep inside of me between my knowing and my feeling and my willing and my doing? If you think you know yourself, you are really deluded. You are so complex. You are so many-layered. Why do you think the psalmist in Psalm 19 prays, "Clear me from hidden faults"? It's because his brain, just a picture, is so convoluted and so layered that there are things tucked down in there that no matter how he claws with introspection at himself, he never knows himself completely. But we long to. Unless you're sick. We long to. Therefore, there is one who does, which means the only